Sports Frenzy. Good night, everyone. Welcome again to another Sports Frenzy podcast. And when you see the face, man, you know it's already who it is. It's Levon once again back here to host another program. With me tonight, I don't know, but I've just become so caught up on this that I can't let it go. The man that calls himself Manning's man that doesn't come from Manning's. I can't start saying that. And then
True, man. I come from a woman still. I don't come from a man. Remember that?
And finally, after a while again, well, he was on here just the other day, but talking about the man that I refer to as, well, I call him the bad Spanish because this man come from Africa and support a Spanish team. I don't know how comes that man become a Spain fan, but
Yeah.
yeah, man, we have to big up the bad Spanish in the building, man. Christy,
Otherwise, the prediction guru. We're gonna need
Yeah.
a sponsor from one of these companies because there are people like me out here could be helping people to win lots of money. So we need one
talk
of those sponsors.
truth. What's that? 4 perfect score. First weekend
Yeah,
of
man.
Sports Frenzy prediction. That was brilliant,
What
man.
you call those persons who kind of give people correct picks so them can go? What you call those people? What you call it? What you call
What's
punters? That's how you call them?
Yeah, man.
You
yeah?
need,
Chris is a punter. And a long time this man I tell me
yeah,
about
man.
anytime you want to get some tips, man, just link me up. But
To start a
right,
business.
yeah, man, the man have a bit luck, man.
Levon,
Well,
just
no,
tell
no.
him say I'm not
As long as you
biased.
say,
Also,
okay,
Bookie.
that's
tell him
it,
I'm
man.
not
Tell the bookie.
biased. Levon, tell Manningsman I'm not biased. You remember I had Liverpool to draw against Newcastle 1-1.
Yeah, you did. You got it.
So tell him I'm not biased when it comes towards my team.
True
So
thing, man.
Just Josh Carl, remember to send out the link, and send it to him.
Yeah, but we're here tonight to discuss some Reggae Boys football. Boy, not looking good at all, at all, at all, at all. But my million
uh,
dollar question is, all right, first up, Liam Moore is out of the team. Ethan Pinnock is out of the team. Daniel Johnson is out of the team. And now Mikel Antonio is out of the team. My million dollar question to both of you is, do you think this has anything to do with Ravel Morrison omission from the team? Like it's a spin-off because you know that it's been said that Ravel Morrison and Adrian Mariappa command a lot of respect in this team. Like the English-based players that comes into the team because these are two men that have been here already for a good while. They respect them and whatever happens, it contributes somewhat. But Mannings man, you're a man that been following up this topic for a long, 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 long while. Do you think that Theodore Tappa Whitmore dealt with Ravel Morrison critiquing him in the public on Sportsmat's interview? Do you think that has a part to play with these players pulling out?
Uh, all right. So I'm going to go first. If you go by what the players and the clubs have said, you would say no. But you can also read into, so we can take things at face value, right? And say this Ethan Pinnock, it is possible that he could have gotten a little nick. The club values him and say, listen, we're not going to release you. So we can say it is the statements are actually truthful for Ethan Pinnock, Liam Moore, because I've said long before, I found it it was unlikely for me to believe that such an essential player had a hip injury, came on for a game, and then the club, who could use that as an excuse, would still allow him. And that was way before the whole Ravel Morrison thing come up. So I felt like for some of those cases, it's true. I think there are other factors though that affected Mikel Antonio, in
Mhm.
particular. Daniel Johnson talked like Patwa. Daniel Johnson not into this thing. Daniel Johnson is a Jamaican. He's not.
He's a born Jamaican.
He's a man from Cassava Peace area, kind of a thing. So he's a Jamaican. But with
Mm.
Mikel Antonio, I think his level is too high to subject himself to certain things.
But you read the statement that he put out?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, that I believe there's more to his situation,
Mm-hmm.
and it may be connected
than
to
the others.
yeah, it may be connected to Ravel. It could be connected to the fact that he also has a relationship with one of our other high-profile footballers through his agent, who is close to that baller's agent, who
Mm-hmm.
have some issues with the coach, and their name were called up in the interview as well. Right?
But
I don't want to call any names on your program, but you probably, if you want to, you can. But you know what I'm talking about. I just want to make sure that I'm not.
yeah, I have an idea. But what
Yeah.
I'm getting at is that you look at Ethan Pinnock and Liam Moore. Both of them started on the weekend for their respective clubs. You never saw
Yeah.
any sort of niggle or anything like that. So going by that, I can't see the real reason as to why both were committed. Yes, the club came out and made a statement that they don't want to really risk them, but if you're going to play both of them for 90 minutes, aren't you suggesting to us as Jamaican fans that yes, these guys are fit?
Chris Lynch, I mean.
Yeah, basically, clubs would have done this, if more than likely they're an important part of their, especially Pinnock is an important part of what Brentford does. They play
Mhm.
that three at the back, and it's very important to have him there. If you notice, the coach valued him. When you look at the Liverpool game, he was injured, and the coach was watching him, not taking him off because he really wanted him to stay on the field, and Pinnock wanted to stay. So it tell you that their heart is with what Brentford coming off that victory, that he's not going to risk it. He needs rest. It's obvious that he probably was good enough for that game, but you still need recovery time. That's how football is. You probably play the game with a little niggle. I know people who play in pain, but they
Mhm.
go and rest again. So that can be the situation with Pino for sure. But with
Understand.
Yeah.
when I look at the only one suspicious one I look at is, if you want to talk about a spin-off, a 3-0, when I get 3-0 against Panama for your first game, first time in playing for Jamaica, I think that is a big spin-off for Mikel Antonio. When he looks at it, wasn't getting any service. He's like, I really, I don't know. If
Yes,
you
sir,
if
man, I
you
think
want
Rebel
to
and look
analyze it, he didn't touch the ball 10 times. He was like a headless chicken just running around the field. And and I think that is probably a part of what's taking place with him not wanting to come. I would have said it earlier, but I was hoping for him to come back just to get a look at him again. But I probably thought a long time ago that more than likely he wouldn't be interested in coming back more than so.
And I want to tell you this. This is underscoring something, Chris Lynch and Levon. I think the influence of Leon Bailey is critical. Like, I believe,
Mhm.
like, if Leon Bailey were here,
Was fit, yeah.
a fit and here, um, Mikel Antonio would be here. I don't want to get into the politics, but just because you're going to play with a Leon Bailey is added motivation. You understand me? I almost feel like if Leon called him and said, "Listen, I'm going to Jamaica. Man, what flight you going on? Blah blah blah." Because like that alone, because there's sort of a relationship there already. And
Mhm.
I even believe that when he came to play the first game, could it be like Chris Lynn said? He came thinking, well, Leon is not here. If we can get this going, then maybe when Leon comes back, you understand me? And then Bamia gets 3, and then Leon is not going to be here again. And Leon was the one who came and met with you in the off season. And you know, your father is an agent, and my agent, they are connected. And no, you are not here. The vibe wasn't good anyways.
Mannings, man,
Like,
notice what I just did.
yeah.
You notice what you just did.
I'm giving you a
Remember,
different. That is far from the first thing that I said. It's a completely different thing. If you want to
look at
add
it
both of
there.
them together,
Look
that
at
is your problem.
look at it. Initially, you said that you're not going to call any name,
I-
Look what you
on,
did just now.
on that particular issue, this is a
Yeah, but
completely different issue. No,
but basically,
Man,
if
man
you're
is
reading
picking
between
up
the
off
lines,
where I left off, Lever.
there you go. If you want to
no,
go
but if
back
you
to
read
that and
between
add
the
up more
lines,
thing, yeah, well, I never said anything. You can read it between the lines.
all right, continue, man.
Yeah, so I think like, and that's what I'm saying, that sometimes a person has influence, and I don't want to go through too far from the point, but I think like even um, with the Chris Gale issue, like there's a pulling power that certain people have, right? And I think Leon Bailey has that pulling power that a
True.
person seen him playing in the Premier League, and if he calls him and say, "Yo, Ethan, I know you have a niggle man, but listen, we need to win this game, and I am going down," that changes the dynamics because I think Leon Bailey and his agent had some influence in Mikel Antonio. Like it wasn't just accidental that Leon and Mikel Antonio were in London in the summer before Leon got to Aston Villa. You saw them
Mhm.
posing and taking pictures. So there must be some sort of And it was soon after that that Mikel Antonio confirmed that he was going to represent Jamaica.
True. But I just
Like
said,
I said,
go ahead.
go ahead. Go. Like I always said, oh Mannings, no matter where you're from, Jamaica is just born in you. That's how it is. And I think when you look at Mikel Antonio, I really think he comes with the intention of wanting to play. But there was nothing encouraging from that Panama game, to be honest. Like, you couldn't take one positivity away from that game that to say he should come back. And like you say, Leon not being there and showing that quality that he shows in the Premier League, I think it's really it's not a motivational factor. There's nothing to really push him to say come, especially knowing that he can pick up an injury and he's going to miss games again in the Premier League. And I'm sure his coaches talk about that with him too.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm just going to read the statement that was put out by Mikel Antonio, and then we're going to delve in the issue a bit more. So
we're not seeing the comments. I know Michelle Lemon. Are you trying to stop me from being distracted?
no, man, the ones are there, man. You're not seeing them?
No, you seen them, Chris Lynch?
Well, I'm using a different device, so I'm not sure, but I don't know if it's the ones that Josh Paul put up on the
yeah, man.
screen.
I'm seeing them now. I had my thing on full screen.
And then you want to blame me, eh? But I'm going to read the statement that was put out by Mikel Antonio. So he said that I can confirm that, unfortunately, I will not be joining up with the Jamaican national squad for the World Cup qualifying matches this week. Antonio said in a press statement, myself, West Ham United, and Jamaica have all agreed that, given the logistical and travel difficulties involved at present, it is better for me to remain with the club in London at this time. I remain fully committed to Jamaica and look forward to representing my country in the future. Now, going by that, nobody can tell me that Mikel Antonio never knew the nuances behind him representing Jamaica. He knew that he had to travel. Any footballer with a brain knew all of that. So let us draw the correlation now. How is it that you know all the fact before that you have to travel, and then you're going to tell us that because of logistical and travel differences and all of that, that is the reason why you can't? Oh man, something sounds as the Manning's going to say. When Manning's talking about O'Neill Fisher, Manning's going to say the fishy one. Something sounds fishy about this, man. Something just not add up with this. So Manning's man, let's delve into it a bit more because
listen, traveler, you're flying from US from England straight to Texas to Austin. That's as far as I know. Because it's non-stop flight. You have this option. The next flight is to Jamaica, one flight to play Canada. You didn't have to go to Honduras. You could have said 2 games and then they fly back to London. You could have even given the team the option of playing the USA game and say, listen, I'll play 1 game and go. The fact that none of these options, and you listen, you said, the first part of the statement is about the Jamaica Football Association, West Ham. What West Ham has to do with this?
You're saying that
because West Ham, the only thing West Ham have is that FIFA have a rule that you must release the player. So it's out of West Ham hand. The fact that you're including West Ham in it, to me, is making it seem like you're trying to be diplomatic. That like the person said, like, you know what, if me want to come, but the club think otherwise, and Jamaica agree with my club. But if it were up to me, I would do it, and I don't think that is the case.
Something just not seems right with it, because as I said, it is mandated by FIFA that the clubs have to let go of these players. No, as I said, what does West Ham have to do with this?
And then when did Mikel Antonio know that is it that he didn't know that he will have to fly to United States at some point to play a game, or he didn't get the fixtures? So it don't make any sense. And I'm saying that there are other issues, because you remember when the first time the players came, and this is what was out there in the air in many places about who paid for the tickets. All right. No, we don't know if that is so, but could there be expenses like these players had to cover, that they probably feel uncomfortable covering now.
Oh, so you're bringing across that probably is a case that it's burning their pockets and they're not really seeing the investment. Well, they're not really getting back anything at all from it. So it could be a case that they're looking at it now and said, hey, this is costing me too much.
Yeah, because what it's just like corner league. If you're traveling Chris Lynch from your avenue from outer east, come all the way uptown to play a corner league, and you burn up your bus fare, and you go there and you get 6 love. You're not going to pay a bus fare next
No
week.
motivation.
So I think that is what is happening to some, But I agree with you, Levon, that something is not clear, and the JFF has not responded to his statement. Why did Mikel Antonio's statement come out in the newspaper?
Good question.
Why is it that his statement is you understand is released from the Gleaner and not the JFF speaking as to why he's not coming? Why would he feel a need to say something?
Because generally, right? Wouldn't it be the association or the team itself that the statements will come from, that this player has pulled out because of this reason, that reason, or whatever not?
All right.
No, this came directly from the player.
Listen, how did we know about Daniel Johnson? This is the problem. How did we know about Daniel? The people know about Daniel Johnson, There is no press release in any, I've not read any newspaper article from anyone from within the federation explaining the absentees. Ethan Pinnock, Liam Moore, all we heard. So I feel like there is, all right, listen, boy, you guys just explain it so the people can understand. And their take, it just don't seem right. It don't seem right.
True. No, Ryan, I'm glad that you joined the podcast. So, a question to you. You have seen the statement that was released by Mikel Antonio. No, we have an issue with it because we're saying that. Why is it that it's a player that it came from and not the JFF itself? So, when you read the statement, how do you break it down?
All right. Driving from work a while ago, I was thinking about it, and a myriad of things came into my mind. I know we're all here speculating, but we have to speculate because we don't have anything else to go off. I remember in August, David Moyes was saying, Antonio need to play for England. Antonio need to play for England when Antonio was declaring for Jamaica. Then in the statement I read where he said that West Ham was a part of the conversation in terms of why he decided not to come. Maybe Moyes was in his head not to bother go. I don't know, but that I'm beginning to think. And then also, I read something else where Moyes was pushing him to get 20 goals in the league this season. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if Moyes was like, it's a waste of time, barely not going there, certain people not going there, them not going to qualify, in the sense about to go. I don't know, we just have to speculate as we say. It could also be JFF being incompetent as usual. Why is it that so many English players are pulling out? Does it have to do something with the flights that they are getting? Does it have to do with their accommodation? Does it have to do with other things behind the scenes that we don't know about, because it's the English League, the Championship and the Premier League players who are pulling out, not we have Kemar Roof is there. Who else is there from the
Andre Gray.
Gray is there from the Championship.
Low is still there as well. Just that low one played.
So
it's a touch and go situation.
Bobby Reed is there.
Bobby Reed.
Exactly. So there must have been something else that caused those players, the Premier League ones especially, to be pulling out. Maybe we won't find out now, but we might find out later down the line if and when things come to a head, we might hear the true story. And it could also be I don't know if it's as much the Ravel situation, because these guys don't know Ravel like that. But we don't know. So, but I really looking into it, and I'm not exactly certain that, because Ravel would be new to them. That would be their first camp with him. So I don't know if they have any loyalty with him like that to be pulling out because of him or because of
I wouldn't necessarily because of him, you know. I'm
or
more
because of
thinking
what
about
might
it.
have speculated to have happened. But if we really don't know, but I really don't think it have anything to do with him as much as I think it might be JFF being incompetent.
The
That
interesting,
is where most of my that is where I'm looking mostly because I know JFF have a tendency to just find a way to be incompetent when you least expect it.
like picking up off that point, the interesting point about it, man, the Gleaner article said Antonio makes himself unavailable. That's what the Gleaner article said, you know. That is basically saying it's Antonio who made this decision. But then when you went on to read,
exactly,
it also said he came to the agreement with West Ham, Jamaica,
and
Federal
Jamaica.
Football Federation.
That's what I'm saying.
Here's my thing.
Why is the club being called? Why is the club being called when the club released him?
Here's my thing with Jamaica now. Let us assume what he's saying is true. If it is that we are serious about getting him, why would we just say, okay, man, stay. Why would we fight? If it is that he is the leading, one of the leading scorers in the English league, why you not just easily drop arms like that? And as I said, man is man, he was released by the club. So how you just reach to a decision like that, based on one conversation that, yeah, man, no, but it's all right, man. I understand what you're saying. Normally, you fight for players like those to come. It's something is. I don't buy.
It's obvious. So based on the article, it's obvious that Antonio made the travel arrangements a problem. It's obvious it's that because that is what the article surround about. It's obvious that he made traveling a problem, and I think he tell his club something, and the club.
The September window, I was hearing something behind the scenes that when Calvert-Lewin got injured and pulled out of the England squad, they were making contact with him to try and get him.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I heard that. So I don't know exactly where that came from, but I don't think that would have been feasible because his mind was already made up.
Yeah, and he already has a cap, so it's not like he can play for England again.
You sure? Isn't it five caps that you have to have in order
when you're under a certain age?
No, when you're under 21, I have to sit out 3 years.
3 years, yeah. They change the rule.
Yeah.
But my point is, Ryan, you're exactly right. Listen, obviously, Antonio, for whatever reason, he did not want to come. And I don't think it is, like, I believe personally, if Leon Bailey were fit and coming and said, hey, Mikel, I'm going down, I think like that would have made a huge difference. Therefore, there are other factors that I believe that we don't know of behind the scenes that is causing a player who did so much in a pandemic when he goes back to, remember, this trip is easier because the FA just changed the whole quarantine rules. So the first trip that they came on, if he had any reason not to travel, it would be for the first set of games. Yeah. Because remember, when they went back, they would have to have this whole 5 days sitting out, and there was all of that problem. That is why they couldn't go to Red List country and all of that. I am saying that everything has changed now. The flight plan has not changed. It is the same chartered flight using the same airline. Right? Instead of coming to Jamaica, you'd fly straight to Austin. Yeah. Right? And then you could also leave there and go back to what I'm saying. He could have played one game. So the fact that
Whitmore said he's not taking them for 1 or 2 games. Everybody's going to be in the camp for 3 games.
Well, maybe that is part of the problem. Then maybe he didn't want to play all 3 games. Maybe he didn't want to fly to Honduras. But he said, I'll do 2 games. Can I do 2 games and skip the Honduras game? Let's use that, right? And Whitmore says, listen, you have to play all 3. And he said, you know what? I'm not going to go there.
All right.
That doesn't make sense to me.
All All right, so before I move on, here's Demo saying that YouTube was doing more for JA football than JFF to next side. Long time, man. Remember that we have our record. What you refer to it as again, Mannings, man?
You YCA?
Yeah, man, the
You
YCA.
YouTubers Coaching
Yeah,
Association.
man. We're doing more for the team than actually JFF. And also, before I move on, yes, Owen Green also saying that they're gonna go on until the team they reach World Cup. Only a miracle will help them to beat USA. Um, here's also Dave Lemart saying that let's not be biased, gentlemen. It happens in Europe all the time where the players declare their unavailability, don't talk crap to create news. Here's also Dale Francis saying that playing for England is so overrated. As a man boss, you see my link to playing with England. They really have no excuse for not winning anything on the international stage. But we're not here to talk about England, we're talking about Jamaica right now. And the producer say Bramble, Dale Francis. So you need to come better than that. As I always want to big up our regular viewers and welcome to the new viewers. You know that we appreciate all of you guys, man. Someone like Travis Pessoa, one of Manning's man, loyal followers. Big up yourself, man. One is saying that
So, the man soon start cussing out. You wait until the program get heated.
here's Travis saying that David Moyes do it. West Ham narrate Jamaica Football Federation.
Tell you.
But let's look at it a bit deeper now. Do you think I'm going to bring in Stephen? So Stephen, you have seen all the guys that have pulled out of the team for whatever reasons. Do you think that it's deeper than what's being said in the media, or I think that we should just take it for what it is?
I think it's deeper. You think that England could be in the middle of a very crucial World Cup qualifying campaign, and say Mikel Antonio is probably the man. Say Harry Kane is injured and Calvert-Lewin is injured and he's selected for England. You think he could say to England that he's not going to Honduras or wherever? It would not happen. And Craig Butler said something in his interview on another station. He said the commitment that a Maggie or a Topi, these men, you know, they come from, these young men, you know, they come from communities in Jamaica. You pass on the road, the vendor say, go on, baller. Do it for you know. It's different from you. You have parentage here, but you're really not Jamaican. I just don't think he would have done it to England. And when you say have travel difficulties, I mean, as Manning's man said it, he could go straight to the US.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the commitment that they want from these English players, I think it's unfair to demand it from them because they weren't grown here. So Jamaica needs to think again, and we need to start looking at how we groom players. Look at Topi now. We're running for Topi when Topi should have been in and around the team probably a year or two ago. Just getting him around, just getting even 2 or 3 caps. So if God forbid Lowe gets injured tomorrow, Topi is gonna come in looking big and putting on a lot of weight. You understand what I'm saying? We need to get our boys that are here, and if anything, the English guys complement it. But see it there, Antonio is gone, and I think the media is trying to pull a good PR strategy because they work so hard to get him, and now Antonio is, for whatever reason, putting us off. I think it's a great PR strategy.
Yeah, I hear the next thing. His excuse is traveling logistics, right? Okay. The traveling logistics won't get any better because for the rest of the campaign, it's going to be mostly 3 games per window, and you have to travel to different countries. You have to travel to Central America, to Canada, to US, to those places, and you have to travel back to Jamaica. So you're going to have that throughout the rest of the campaign. So is it that he will not be available for the rest of the World Cup qualifiers, given that his issue is what will be present for every other window during the qualifiers?
Okay, Steve, go ahead.
Yes, Levon, I just want to say something in the chat. They're saying, or can we say they're not Jamaican? I never said they're not Jamaican, you know. It's one Jamaica. But I'm saying the commitment that's going to be expected from a man that did not grow here, it's kind of unfair. You understand? Just like Hurricane, and have you ever seen those guys playing for England? You know, they grow up in the academies, they grow up in the communities. It's natural that they're going to have a lot more commitment. Look at Bowser. Bowser had a massive injury, you
But
know. He's playing for his country. And you know what Bowser said even before he came back for his club? Sorry, explain. You know what he said? If he has to put on a mask around the jawbone and play, he will. I just don't think you're going to get that from the English guys. I just don't think you're going to get it.
I think it, Levan, a good point would be that, yeah, these players, the Antonio, he didn't come before. So what happened is he didn't get a culture, he didn't get welcome with the players and go to a tournament with them to get that friendly vibe. I think that would help, like what Steven said. I can't disagree with him. That those type of things help. Just to have a relationship with players. And I think that would have motivated Mikel to come. If Adi went to a tournament with those players and he had formed a relationship with like the top players in the team. Just like we said, if Liam Bailey was there, more than likely he would come. It's the same thing. We cannot keep getting players at the back end, else this is going to always happen. Players are not going to be committed. It's just easy to know that you're not going to be as committed.
West Ham went to Dynamo Zagreb to play Europa League, right? And they have some of that. Listen, this travel logistic business is not a good excuse. And like I said, that there are other reasons, and he was being very diplomatic. He probably didn't want to call out the federation, so he was very diplomatic, and I respect him for that, because it does mean that he respects the federation enough that he would not come out publicly and say, when I came the last time, you know, as an example, I don't know, like maybe he paid for his ticket and they were supposed to refund it. Yet he probably didn't want to come out and say, boy, them still owe me some money and things. No, just an example, not saying that happened, right? So he just came out and said, listen, logistics, right? Because it's the most acceptable excuse and it covers everybody. So that's what I think. Because, I mean, this is Europa League. You're going to travel to some places in Europe that it may not be that far, but the conditions are not going to be any better than flying to Austin in the United States and at the office in Jamaica. Like, and it is a chartered flight, and they all fly business class. And from what I understand from the ticketed prices, if you want to upgrade from business class to first class, on that flight, it's like £300. That I think if Antonio wants to upgrade, he could easily do that based on his salary. So the travel logistics thing, unless what Ryan says is right, which is he had to play all 3 games and they didn't want him to. And that was now where the coach said, well, if you're not playing 3, don't come. And he opted not to. I think that is more likely to have happened, in my opinion.
All right. So
you remember?
Here's Demo saying, let me just read this comment first, Ryan. So here's Demo saying that, quote, paraphrasing Mikel Antonio, saying that I remain fully committed to Jamaica and look forward to representing my country in the future. So Demo is saying that the man is committed to the thing.
Demo is an idealist.
Levon. We're not saying he's not committed, you know, there are levels of commitment. Just like how Grant, what looked like he was dying on the field, I stick on him, look like he would just go. I mean, he's English born, but you have levels of commitment. The level of commitment that you might see from a Maggie or Damian Lowe, it's highly unlikely, that you'll see it from Antonio or Kemar Roof. Is that inaccurate?
What I'll say to you, Levon, is that these guys will say, but these guys come to Jamaica to play for little or nothing, and the local guys were sticking up the federation for $7,000 US per game. I'm saying that they will say that, you know, and if you make it can be about money, but I do understand your point. Like, would some of these guys do what Bowser did? I would say, but Mariappa has sacrificed his time and played injured for Jamaica. Michael Hector, I mean, gave up an opportunity to stay with Chelsea in his younger days to come and play for Jamaica. Don't know where that could have taken him, but he sacrificed some of that.
Nowhere else, don't know.
But Manning's man. But Manning's man. But Mannings, man,
Yeah.
these are not guys of the quality of Mikel Antonio and Kemar Roof in a golfing class, you know.
No, I
Golf.
understand you. All I'm saying is that, but Mariappa played in the Premier League and had a good career for his time in the Premier League. But even in those times, he always turned up. Even for remember Mikel Antonio. Mikel Antonio, for example, said, "Listen, I come to Jamaica regularly." He says, "Listen, I never rejected Jamaica at any point in my career." I'm just giving you an example. He said, "Listen, Jamaica rejected me. They came and they saw me, and I agree with them. I was not good enough." He said that. He said,
He
at
really
the point,
wasn't. No, it's not like he really wasn't when he was playing right back.
yeah, he wasn't
He wasn't.
right. Yeah, you understand what I mean? So he
And that day when
Finish up, man.
it was the day that
We're not hearing you, Chris. Chris, we're not hearing you. All right, go ahead now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Yeah. I was saying that it was a specific day that they went to scout him on. So it wasn't like they watch him over a period of time. He said on the day when they came to see me, I wasn't good on that day. But just to get to Ryan point, that
Chris, keep on going in and out.
all right, I'm gonna come off and come back now.
Okay.
yeah. So my point is really like I would not question the level of Ryan talking, but I'm not hearing.
The words of Leon Bailey is ringing in my ears. You remember when he was on the podcast and JFF said they was going to sanction him for it? When he was saying that if we fail, it's the federation's fault, which is why I'm looking at the federation for this, because for these, it's a specific set of players that are pulling out the Premier League and mostly Premier League players. So there must be something why those particular players are pulling out, as opposed if it was Premier League and a couple championship player from here and there and whatever else, then maybe we'd be scratching our heads more to figure out what is the issue here. But the fact that it is those type of players that are pulling out, I am wondering what kind of missteps the JFF is making right now.
So here's Caswan James saying that Topi reached a level yet to dominate Concacaf. May the youth them get to a level and stop over at the man them, cause them star up with corner league. That is in reference to what you mentioned, Stephen, and I believe it's true. You know why? Jamai Topi got an opportunity overseas and he never took it up. So he has to come back. I believe he was out for a year. Management can correct me on that because I know that you have followed him for a while, but hasn't he been out of football for over a year?
Yeah, but he was out because so the truth is Stephen makes a very good point. In 2019 at the Gold Cup, Topi was there having played in the under-20 tournament where he played as a centre back and scored the most goals for Jamaica. And Mexico qualified by better goal average. And Topi was the leading scorer. This was a team with McGee and all of these guys. I don't remember. He went into the Gold Cup team and was on good form. And we had a game where we qualified. And here is what happened. The coach had an option to use Topi when Lowe was injured. And you know what the coach did? He put Francis at centre back and never gave Topi a game. Like
which Francis?
Sean Francis. Who is not a centre half.
Who is not a centre. I don't know if you remember that Gold Cup game that Sean Francis.
Yeah, I remember exactly what it is.
All right. No, I think, and then from that time he was never called back. He was in the States trying to play around, but I think he couldn't come back to Jamaica because of his citizenship.
Immigration
reasons. All right, so that was what kept him out of football along with the injury. So some of it I think is how we have managed the players, because during that time there was Nations League and everybody keep wondering why wasn't this guy called back for Nations League, and he wasn't. So a player get discouraged because you're on top form, you go to the Gold Cup. So Stephen is right that having him in and around the team, we tried so many, and I'm not saying that he's the greatest thing since since sliced bread. I'm not saying he's a finished article. I am saying that we did not take time to develop him. And now we're going to call on him.
But
put him in the
Manningsman,
team.
do you think that a national team is responsible for development of the players like this?
When you get to a certain level, like you can say that for England, but when you're playing for Jamaica, that going to play Nations League and all of those games in the Caribbean, and you have a 19-year-old, you have to put him in a team. Why we have to wait until the players are 25 to make them get their first international cap? Why we have to wait? Like, we have to wait until, like, it's the same thing with Leon Bailey, you know. We could have lost Leon Bailey because when he's 17 and doing well, we want to wait until he's 25. Why?
I said that he's not good enough at that time. The other man was ordinary, nothing special.
I'm not going to get into that ordinary debate.
But
yes.
But Leon,
go ahead, Stephen.
We have name it 2 or 3 other centre backs that we have in the league. Just watching the league this year, that you thought, sensational. Do we have 3 names?
None.
What I'm saying is, I'm not saying Jamoy Topi is Virgil van Dijk, I'm just saying that in the time, as Manningsman said, when he was very good on top of his game, of course you can't develop him and teach him how to pass and teach him how to head on. But at least have him around the team. Have a nucleus.
I get what you're saying.
Even if you look at it, Maggie, even though you have Maggie around the team, he doesn't give Maggie enough games to gain confidence.
I'm going to give you a good
example. He doesn't give Maggie enough games.
Yeah. Maggie
gets enough games. Maggie gets enough games.
No, man.
I got reason.
Yeah.
You just know that Maggie in the squad and you probably think he gets enough games.
Hold on now, Maggie get more than enough game for Jamaica because he's not playing for his club that much. It's just no Maggie starting.
No, all right. Let me say
so
this.
The fact that Maggie was playing international football while not playing for his club.
Let me say it this way, right? Well, let me say it this way. All right. Tappa gets close to 800,000 a month. All right. The national team is not always playing game, but many of the national players are players who can be around the national team are in Jamaica. Why, during that time, like Maggie who was here and these guys, why couldn't the coach have sessions with them on a monthly basis to work on some things if they believe the clubs are not developing the player? Because remember, Maggie was in Jamaica, at Harborview. If the clubs are not developing and you have a national coach, right, who is getting paid monthly and the national team is not active, why couldn't there be a system set up where it takes probably every Saturday and bring 11 of these fringe players, let's call them that, the younger fringe players, to work with them in addition to what their clubs are doing? If they're overseas, fine. But while they're in Jamaica, why not do that then?
You mean during the time when you had COVID and you have to have a bubble?
No, man, listen, Maggie, I'm talking about from 2019. After that under 20, I'm talking about the under 20 tournament. From that under 20 tournament, when we had all of those, we had Maggie, Lamar, Walker, Jaden White was in that, Topi was in that. All of these guys were in Jamaica playing, and they were just nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a point I'm making, that maybe that's one way,
I see what you're saying, but yes, Fabi Fran is saying that Topi did play well in under 20, but his development was stunted after that. He needs to lose some weight and get his development on track. Also, Fred
Topi just put on weight, it's not no long. Topi basically just put on some weight because he has been out of football. We didn't call for him when he had on that weight. No one was calling for Topi when he just put on weight. Just put on. I don't know, long time.
Yes, Owen Green saying that. Manningsman, me have a join your podcast, but please don't bramble out the show when I watch it. There's also editor-in-chief saying that Tappa said he wasn't forceful enough while on the field. He wants Maggie to impose himself more, demand the ball more. But I mean, as these guys just pointed out, if you're not giving enough game time, I can't use one match to say a man should be more forceful, nor 1.5 game. That doesn't sit well with me. I don't think it's fair on the player, and Overtime, if you give him like a stretch of games and you see that he's not improving, then that would be the perfect time for you to critique him. But I didn't agree with that. And also, here's Jerome West saying that it takes money to do it. Also, Tappa thinks most. I think the statement is incomplete, but he's saying that he thinks it takes a lot of money. But also, I would just say big up to everybody in the comment section. Keep the comments commenting, and just leave your questions for panelists. And also, the person said to big up Richard Bellman. Big up every newcomer to the channel. You are the one that makes it possible, man. So just keep on commenting and keep the channel keep on growing.
Mornings,
So
man.
Hold on. I always tell people this story, right? I go to this conference and this guy called Michael Jr., big comedian and movie star, shared a story about the dog. Said there was a dog that they found and they took it, the neighbor said it was his dog and the neighbor gave them money because he had a if $200 they got for the dog because they brought back the neighbor's dog. All right, let me go quickly, right? So what they did then, they stole the dog from the neighbor and the name of the dog was Money. So they stole the dog back from the neighbor and then sold it to somebody else and they got some more money. And he finished the story and he said the whole point of the story is that it takes money to make money. Right? He went on to say that, listen, when you start saying you don't have enough money, what you're spending get lesser and lesser. If we keep saying that we don't have money to do some of these things, we're not going to make any money with the things that we are doing. We have to make up our mind that we're going to have to find a way to, because listen, it's going to cost us a whole heap of money if we don't qualify for the World Cup. So we need to make up our minds that we're going to spend some money to do the grassroots things that needs to be done, or we're going to keep wasting money. You can't say, listen, if you run a business, you know that it takes money to make money.
Yeah.
So stop complaining that we have to find a way to get the money.
That's
do
going
what
to take
needs to be done.
visionaries mornings, man.
Mornings, man. I just want to say, negative and Tappa, I don't know how him look at the football like this. He was very negative in Mexico. Almost pull off a jaw in Mexico. He put on Peter Lee Vassell. And I think Maggie probably would have been a better option. And Peter Lee Vassell wasn't around the squad, But he didn't put on Maggie, who I think would have created more space for us and would be more of an older player with the ball because of his skill. But he didn't do that. He put on Vassell. So those are the things that Tappa does that I can say he doesn't give Maggie enough chance.
We can also point to the part when Maggie scores a goal against Costa Rica in the Gold Cup. So
yeah, you need a more defensive-minded player, man. Maggie have in the try.
That is where you go and get and blame Tappa. Him just throw Maggie in the heat of things. He didn't put him in against Mexico, Vassell not in the squad again. He put in Vassell, not Maggie. And Maggie is still in the squad.
Yeah, but
and somehow I feel Maggie gonna start against USA again. So obviously, he must think Maggie is special somehow.
I think some of the things Tappa have to take responsibility. So look at this one. A classic example is Romario Williams.
Oh,
so he gets called into the team to start, and you don't see him again. He don't even get called into the squad. Like
no, those things. No, we claim Tappa for that. Those things happen right across football. Players will start a game and then the next camp them not.
All right. Manning's one is getting at and he spoke about it earlier, and he's saying that up top Jamaica is short, knowing that all these players are pulled out. So you called up Romario Williams for the previous camp that he wasn't needed. Now you actually need a forward, and since you had already called him up in the program, why not go back for it?
He wasn't needed in the previous camp when people couldn't go certain countries.
He wasn't needed.
Okay.
What did Romario Williams offer in the game against Mexico?
No, he never offer nothing. I mean, if you put on somebody on the field twice and them not offer no, they don't say them never needed. Because if he wasn't needed, he wouldn't have gone on the field twice. It's just that he never performed and him get the chance.
But you know what I want to ask, Levon? Do you think like if Tappa took up the phone and called Mikel and said, listen, I know what you have said, but I really need it for this game because we need to get the 3 points. Do you think like hearing from the coach, calling and talking to him, in the same way I think like I would suspect like people like a Southgate, not that he would have this kind of a problem, but I always have a feeling like Southgate, I don't know where I get it from, like he would call and talk to like a Calvert-Lewin and explain to him why he's going to call him, why he's not going to call him. Like every time there's a player that is not called up, I get
Because
the impression that there's
all the time. Because he says it all the time. He say
So
when
he
him
don't-
not pick up him, call him.
he called
And
him. He called
Him
right.
say it all the time.
There you go. So I'm wondering if like Whitmore.
But how you know that Whitmore never talked to?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know, but I'm wondering if that happened, like he has called and actually talked to the player. Because remember, the first time he said he didn't even know that the player was here.
So you know that he didn't do it in the first instance.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, like, Mikel Antonio coming, and I'm like, I mean, and yeah, I'm the coach and I'm bigger than him, but this is Mikel Antonio, and I don't know that he's coming to Jamaica. I'm going to try and get a picture beside him, man. What you talking about?
But here's Jerome West on the screen saying that Tappa need to leave his emotions out the program. Ravel should not be scapegoated for Paul Hall and JFF issues. Do you, any of you guys want to take that up?
What does that mean?
All right, so Jerome West. Apparently, say you need to explain it a bit more because it's just a broad statement. It's just a generalized term. So
I don't know what Paul and JFF issues is.
Is there any rule like they can't call up? Because don't we have a lot of players like Kevin Lambert, somebody put that in the USL? Because why couldn't Kevin Lambert, with all the players absent and Anthony Grant not traveling, Ravel Morris not, why couldn't Kevin Lambert now leave and join up with the team? And Nico Brett leave to replace Antonio and join up with the team? This is like Miami to Texas, or you understand me? Or wherever they are, I mean, it's one flight for the USL players. Why haven't, I mean, I don't know, maybe they are going to call up somebody, but why with all of these absentees, I don't hear of players already in the States being called up at least to replace some of them.
But man, what you should remember, and I remember we spoke on your show earlier, and I was talking about when the JFF had the opportunity, well, whosoever selected team had the opportunity to select what? 27, and they elected 24. No, based on reports that I heard earlier in this evening, there's only 20 players at the base.
20,
so
yeah.
With that being said, you have
and
to
three
look
are goalkeepers.
Yeah. So when you look at that, I was saying that the problem lies within the selection panel, because you have to select players that can actually replace. Remember, you have to factor in a lot of things when you're selecting a team. Number one, players can pick up injury, right? So you have to have backup options. When I look at the current setup, you don't really see any backup options for one, the left back position, two, in the central defensive midfield position. You don't see any backup any at all. So when you look at those things, you have to look at it deeply and say, boy, I don't know exactly what goes on in the thinking of whosoever select this team. So therein lies the issue. But in terms of game against US, because again, we spoke about these things before. Javon Watson is someone that you wouldn't necessarily say is the fittest of the fittest. Remember that man basically gave up on football, now walking around with bare belly. Got on a physical training and he came back afterwards. No, in an important game, you have to thrust that man into the game. Where if you were proactive and already selected a replacement, you wouldn't have to call upon Javon Watson. You could have easily have a replacement. And as you said, you have a man like Kevin Lambert and all those guys in USL. You could easily call upon one of them. But as I said before, I don't know if I'm far-fetching or whatnot, but I just think that Tappa doesn't rate these players. Kevin Lambert, you could say, yeah, he got a chance here. After a while, he never did as they expected. Now, it seems like they have casted a blind eye on him. Even though, if we're going to be fair, it's not a case as if he has been doing all that well for his club either. But you're telling me that you're willing to go for a 39-year-old more than someone who is younger. And we spoke about the local players that just played recently in the JPL. You call up two in JD White and Jamai Tope. So why is it that you couldn't look for a defensive midfielder from the JPL and just bring them in as a replacement?
But who?
There's a Howell from Waterhouse.
Howell from Waterhouse is impressive.
Ramon Howell from Waterhouse, who played in the USL, had a very good season. He's the best CDM in the league this season. Had a very good finals, though Waterhouse lost the finals. So he's the highest rated CDM. I am sure that he is better physically conditioned than Javon Watson from what I have seen. I mean, Javon Watson may surprise me in terms of his physical conditioning because you never know when a man has a personal trainer, right? But based on what I've seen, Ramon Howell, I mean, and even if you're going to play Javon Watson, he's an older player. What if he gets a hit early in the game? You have 5 substitutions. Who is going to replace him?
You're assuming Watson is going to start.
Who?
You're
Yeah,
assuming Watson
start.
is going to start.
Huh?
Who's going to
Cannot
start?
start.
Who's going to start ahead of him then?
Okay.
Start, man.
You assume Watson going to start all 3 games then.
I'm asking you a question, Ryan.
You have
we
to
didn't
start
three.
2 CDM. You have to start Speedy and somebody. So tell us the next name, Ryan.
No,
Here's
but
But
a
Ryan, there's
3-game
only one
club.
CDM.
You're going to play a 38-year-old 3 times?
We'll ask you the question. Who
Tell
are
us
you
who.
going to start?
Tell us who else.
I don't know.
Then, but that you know.
But
And
go ahead, Mannings.
That's what I'm saying. That like even if you're gonna play him right, and you're right, he can't play all 3 games. So at least get Howell into the team to be working with the team, so that even if it's the second game or the third game, well, you're gonna have Anthony Grant coming back for the other 2 games.
Yeah. So him and Speedy. So him and
Right.
Speedy for
So
the
you
other
really
2.
need Javon
What
Watson.
happened to Anthony Grant and England and USA?
Same thing with some trouble traveling to the US. Same thing like I think Ravel.
Ravel.
He has a case.
I don't know if it's a case. I just know that.
A case of what?
If you're from England, if you're from England, you can't go America. Something really wrong.
Yeah, because
something that happened when he was a
alone.
junior player with Manu.
Huh?
That's Ravel.
No, I know about Ravel. I'm asking about Grant.
Yeah,
Grant.
It's a similar type of case.
Yeah, similar case like Ravel. Not similar case in terms of
what they have done, but similar. They would have done something that the US reject them based on.
Interesting. Interesting that our squad is full of them players.
He's only 2.
It's just 2. Hey, Ryan, easier.
But Ryan, Jerome has further substantiate what he was saying. He says that when Tappa was away, Paul Hall was here coaching these players. JFF said they invested a lot in getting these players, so they will have to play. So
I know all of that. I know all of that, but
that Ravel is being scapegoated for that.
For what?
The exact thing that I just read.
For Paul Hall being here.
You didn't quite.
No, I saw it, I read it, but I don't understand what Ravel have to do with this.
Basically saying that the JFF said they invest a lot in getting these players, so they will have to play. So basically, I figure more or less that he's talking about the amount that they have invested in these players and all of that. So because of that and the performance never live up to standard and all of that, this is the spin-off.
But Tappa said he picked the side.
Okay.
Wow.
So it's very like the whole. I don't understand like really like.
Look here, football is political and people covering features. It's as simple.
Story soon come to bump Mannings, man. Don't worry.
If I were to come last on the qualifiers when you're.
But all right, let's move away from the topic that we started off with and now look at the 20 players that are available. Mannings man already selected his 11. No, I doubt you guys actually saw that. So I'm going to go with you guys and I want the formation that you'll actually use. So minus that, Liam Moore is not there. Ethan Pinnock is not there. Jamal Lowe is a touch and go for the first game. Mikel Antonio is not there, nor Daniel Johnson. So, Ryan, you're talking about, do we actually think that Javon Watson is going to start? So I'm going to start with you. With the players that are available.
Yeah.
Give me a team and their formation.
All right, 4-2-3-1. Let me go with that. We know when goal are the captain, Lowe and Mariappa, centre back, right back, Alvas.
Lawrence.
Left back is Lawrence. Let me go with the front areas now. Hard to pick.
No, you two see them, Ryan.
I soon get to that. Roof. I'm looking at the front four first. Roof.
You want to skip on the midfield and go forward. No, you're
Yeah, let's
confusing
go back to
Ryan.
that. Let's go back to that.
Ryan, easy, you know.
Roof. Who else we have? We have Maggie. Can play in the number 10 years there, so. And
Jamalo, Bobby Reed, Jamalo.
Bobby. I'm not just sure about Low.
Right. We're not playing a game of hopscotch or anything like that. Give me a team in the particular.
It's hard to pick. Hard to pick.
Hard to pick. I think you go with Reed over Maggie, though. To be honest, I think.
Mm-hmm. But all right. So the back four. What was the back four again?
The back four pick itself.
The standard
Lawrence, Low, Mariappa, Alvas. Back four pick itself.
So, more or less, Speedy Williams will be in that midfield. So who is going to partner him?
Can play with 10 man. Because a 10 man will play with him.
So the options that I've heard, and Demo is one of them that has been beckoning for this, that Damian Lowe actually step into midfield and play Javon Brown, who has never played for Jamaica. I mean, started a game for Jamaica.
Oh, Boys are up front, no? So that would be my front four. Reed, Boys, what was it again? Maggie. Why am I keep on forgetting somebody?
That's why you're supposed to select your team in order. When you do that,
You see, mix up yourself in a Ryan.
No, man, I'm trying to figure out how we have to leave out Watson. That's what I'm doing.
Let Steven pick his team, man. Let Steven pick his team. Let me hear though. Let me hear Steven. Because Ryan look like his team. What formation?
All right, I'm going to go 4-3-3. I'm gonna go the standard back four. Mariappa Low, left back Taxi, right back Alvas. Now in the middle of the park, Maggie has to start kind of in a triangle, 4-3-3 with a triangle. On the bottom, at the base of the triangle, I'm gonna have Junior Flemings. Him can run up and down. So we need somebody to win back the ball. Probably doesn't do a lot with it, but
him can run up and down. He don't tackle.
Yeah, it gives a lot of energy on the wing.
I'm
trying
to
the base.
You guys
So
are
Maggie's at the top. Maggie's at the top. At the base, we have Speedy and Flemo. Just tell him to work and win the ball. Give it to Maggie. The front three would be Bowser.
Okay.
I try not to start Watson. I couldn't bear to see.
Yeah, so
Bowser, Gray, Bowser, Gray, and Roof. That's so 4-3-3.
So no Bobby Reed, no Jamalo for you.
Bobby Reed has been woefully short the last couple of times I've seen him for Jamaica.
Okay.
That's true.
We're going to need energy for the press and to win back the ball in midfield. I don't like Flemmer so deep, but he's going to have to run and win back the ball because we can't start Javon Watson.
I'm not going to do that.
All right, so Steven,
let's start Javon Watson then.
I'm not going to run over them at Mannings because we have to go like phase by phase. So Steven, you're telling me that you're going to start Junior
Fleming,
Gianluca Buscio, Weston McKinney, Tyler Adams, or Sebastian Letget.
All right. So
will do something.
hold on. All right. To every problem, there's a solution, you know. There are two solutions. We play Brown at centre back or Topi, Fatman Topi, but never started. Start them and put Low as a CDM to partner Speedy. Or we start 39-year-old Rumbelly, Javon Watson. Which one of those options are better? Not us asking. Those are the only options we have, you know.
I think Ryan option is the best.
Which one is that?
Play with 10.
Okay, yeah. I can work with that. All right, yeah.
Oh, boy.
But,
all right.
Chris, what would be your
team? Well, when I pick a team, Levan, I don't pick what I want, you know. I pick what I think the coach is going to do because I know that I can get what I want. So I always try to go in the coach mind. So the back four is standard. Lawrence, Lowe, Mariappa, Alvas. And I think it's a 4-2-3-1. Go with Speedy. And I think either Watson or Fisher he might go with. I don't know, like a management probably say. He's going to go with Watson or Fisher.
Mhm.
And I think more than likely you go with what happened to Corey Burke? Not in the squad.
No,
Injured.
He's injured.
Makes it a little Nicholson up top, then we come back to the three now. Bobby Reed, and then I need two wing players now. Left and right. I go with Roof. Who can play as a winger. And one at the side. And I really don't know if Demar Gray is going to get a start.
Demar Gray is not here. Is
Andre Gray. I really don't know if he's going. No, he's playing as a winger. Bobby Reed playing just behind just so the three is a flat three, you know. Roof playing as a winger, and Gray doing the same thing.
But
And
look,
Nicholson.
that's what I'm saying, that Gray can play as a winger. He has never done that in his career.
That is a quintessential number 9, man. Yeah, man.
So it seems like Junior Flemings has to play. So
remember,
that's
so
just it.
The coach, you know. So Flemo is going to start.
Yeah, so Flemo on the next side.
I don't think so. No.
Roof, Flemo, Bobby Reed. That's the three. And obviously Shamar Nicholson.
Alright, so here's Jerome was giving his 11, and based on how I read this, it seems like it's a 4-3-3. So he says that Blake, Alvas, Brown, Mariappa, Lawrence. Then it's going to have Williams, Reed, Lowe, Boza, Lowe.
There are two Lowe, yeah.
Yeah, so Jamal Lowe and Roof to play the wing, Boza centrally. And then in midfield now, it's going to have Devon Speedy Williams, Bobby Reed, and Damian Lowe. So he's going to use Damian Lowe as the central defensive mid. But what I keep on asking you guys, are you willing to experiment in such an important game of playing Javon Brown as your central defender?
No.
Would you actually take that risk?
That's what I asked.
No, you said in a game like this, a centre back has to be experienced as strong as possible.
And Lowe is basically the leader of the
If you're going to
centre back.
experiment anywhere, you experiment further up the field.
Listen, you know what I would do? I would play it's really five at the back, 5-3-2, but it is a 3-5. It's a 3-5-2. It's really a 3-5-2. It's really a 3-5-2, and it can come into a 5-3-2 or a 5-4-1. All right. So I would go. I would go with Lowe, Mariappa, and Lowe, Mariappa, Javon Brown, and then have Alvas and Kemar Lawrence as the two outside wing backs. All right. So when we're defending, we have a 5, and one of them can always join the attack, but we have that stability against this USA team defensively. All right. In midfield now, I think because I have such a strong midfield, I can start Speedy in there, and McGee would play at the top. That's a 3. I'd go with Bowser.
Hold on, yes, I'm going to start Speedy. So who are Speedy?
I'm going to come to who is going to be beside Speedy. I'm skipping out that position until everything. I'm saving the best for last.
No. You were telling me not to skip, you know. So you're not.
Yeah, you cannot do that, man.
I'm saving the best for last.
All right, so Mannings, man, from earlier on, I saw Dima brought up this about Javon Brown playing in a back 3. Ryan always said that playing in a back 3 is far away different from you playing as a central in our defensive pairing as 2. So Javon Brown can play as a right centre back.
In a back 3, if he's playing right beside Alvas, because sometimes Alvas can even come inside if there's a problem. And he
just like what Chelsea does with Aspilicueta and Reece James. However, are you telling me that The Chelsea coach would be crazy to play Azpilicueta as a central defender. Not going to do that. So that's what we're getting at, Demo. Come on, man. But when I factor in all those things, though, he seems like we're heading back to exactly where we never want to, and that is starting Javon Watson. No matter you try to run from it, that's exactly what pops up, because no matter what you try to do, you're going to experiment. Number one, if you decide that you're going to move low to defensive mid, you have to bring in either Topi or
here's what I believe. Low made the Concacaf team at the tournament as a centre back, right? He has been he has been most consistent as a centre back of all our centre backs, because
you can't
move your best centre back. You can't. So I don't see how you move him. Like
if you're going to experiment, you experiment up the pitch, not in your defense.
Yeah.
So Ryan, would you actually bring in Javon Brown to play in that defensive mid instead of Javon Watson?
I would be open to that.
Chris?
The thing about this in 11, there is no surprise of Javon Watson coming back in. I don't know if management remember when I heard that Javon Watson was going to make a comeback. This is long before World Cup qualifiers start, I heard that Javon Watson was going to make a comeback because Tappa cannot find any central defensive midfielder. And so said so done. When the World Cup qualifiers come around, all of a sudden we can't find none. And it's only Javon Watson who is not playing football we can play. Something is wrong with that.
Let me ask you this. Kevin Lambert, Javon Watson, Michael Hector. Who is better?
Something is wrong with it, management. There's no way a man not playing football and we go back for that, man. That tell you something about our football then. Not going nowhere. If you can go for a 39-year-old, basically out of retirement. He's out of retirement, because the man never did play no football. But he heard that Tappa want him back and obviously get a Premier League team in Jamaica, because the man was looking to venture into music. And a phone call was made to Tappa need him back. And the man find a team in the Premier League and start play football. Something is wrong with it. I don't like it. I really don't like it. But obviously he's going to start in that game. It's obvious. He's going to start in that game.
My point is, why would you call the man out of retirement, send the assistant coach to work with him to get him physically fit, and then don't want to start him when you have a void in the team? Given all of those facts that he was in retirement, you call him out of retirement, you put him on a strict training regime to get him to lose the belly, to build muscle, to play football. Now he has done all of that. I think he's going to start him. I don't see him doing all of that and then not playing him and giving him 3 minutes and 5 minutes. It's like he preempted that at some point, some of these players are not going to turn up, and I want to keep my trump card.
I noticed, and just one is, man, when Tappa was getting results, Javon Watson was an integral part of Jamaica football, When Tappa was getting all those results that make sure he hang on to the job up until now, Javon Watson was an integral part of the midfield.
But you know that Javon Watson has never been one of those ball-winning CDMs for Jamaica, though. That's the kind of thing.
Yeah, he wasn't. He's just a man that will give you energy for the 90 minutes. And as I said, this is a man that will run up and down. And then Tappa actually said it, that he wants players that will die out there on the pitch. And we don't mean literally, but players that will give their all. And Javon Watson will be one of those players. But at the age of 38 going 39, we're far-fetching. And no matter what regime you put that man on, it's crazy, because he was in retirement and all of that. And to come back simply means that, one, not a case as if players are not there. It's just that Tappa don't rate them, so Tappa is not going to call them. People keep on saying Kevin Lambert. Kevin Lambert not seen about the national program. Unless, surprise, tomorrow morning you wake up and say, yeah, Kevin Lambert added to the Reggae Boyz squad. But otherwise from that, it's not happening. It's clear as daylight. And I brought up the point earlier on. People were asking that which player in the local Premier League can do this or do that. Tappa himself spoke about local players getting opportunities. So this was a perfect occasion for him to actually give someone a call up, Because right now, as it stands, this is Tappa team. Most of the English-based players are not around.
Exactly.
So this is Tappa's team. So if Tappa go out there and fail, this is on Tappa. Because this is his team. Remember, you yourself said it, man, that should we just give Tappa his team and say, here what? Do you want to pick who you want to pick and see what him do? Because it seems like that Tappa want, So now he has his team assembled. How will they fare against this US team? As I said, this is US team.
Well,
Probably
I
they're not
think
good.
Tappa
Right.
had a team against Mexico. Tappa had a team against Costa Rica. Tappa is going to have his team against America. He lost against Mexico. He drew against Costa Rica. Right? I'm going to say that he didn't have his team against Panama. All right? So
You're giving him that.
I'm going to give him that. Now, this game, you have your team again because you had many other options and you did not choose them. Nobody can tell me because remember, he came out and said that Amari Bell is not in because of personal reason, which is suggesting that he made that call. He spoke about Ravel. That means he chose not to call Ravel. All right? So basically, these are the players that he wants in his team. You get your hacker, you get your players. No, if you don't produce the result with your players, something has to be done. Something, and here's the thing again, you have lost one game, you have drawn one game with your players. This is the third strike. And I think after this USA game, if this approach doesn't work, we need to sit down and catch this right before, because it's falling off the cliff, before it hits the ground. If this doesn't work against the US, anything, the minimum expectation is a draw. If you go back and look at the Gold Cup team that he had, most of the players that will be starting will be in this team.
Yes, Travis Pessoa saying that if Damian Lowe get a yellow card in the USA game, he's out of the Canada match at stadium. So,
Yeah, because he's on one yellow card. Yeah.
So, would you risk playing him in the defensive midfield position or as a centre back? Because remember, if he goes into that defensive midfield role now, he has to tackle.
You basically have a card, especially playing for Jamaica. You basically have a card on your name already.
Yeah.
Okay. But we're joined by Blair Torkert, twin. That's Kims. Welcome to the podcast, man. And I'm sure that you have heard that what the discussion has been centered around. And as I heard, a man refer to Dima as they refer to Dima as Tappa handbag. So is there vouching for Tappa and saying that Jamaica will be fine and we should not worry because Jamaica is going to make it. So minimum expectations from these three games. What's the minimum points you're looking for from these three games?
All right, so good night, everyone. Big up everybody on the panel. Big up everybody in the comment section. That's a demo introduction, So we just use that, right? So I've been listening to everyone, everyone talking about it, and everyone really had some good point of view. All right, I'm going to tell you my minimum expectation, right? What I think is going to happen. I think Jamaica, out of these three games, I think Jamaica is getting, I'm expecting 3 points at best, 1 point, one point at worst, right? That is my expectation because they're going to lose to USA easily.
But in terms of what they need, how much would you say they need from these three games?
Well,
we know that they're not going to get the maximum. So,
all right, what they need from these three games right now, 7 points
at minimum.
At minimum, I'd give 4 points. At minimum, 4 points.
Yeah, that's where I stand.
But at minimum 4 points. But if you want to feel good, say okay, Jano, we now have Michael Antonio, we now have Liam Moore, we now have Pinnock, we now have Daniel Johnson, and we'll come out with 4 points, boy. We feel good about this. Because remember, the last 3 games, we would have probably expect more points out of those last 3 games. We only have 1 point. So coming out with 4 points out of these 3 games, I think it would be a win for Jamaica. And the Theodore Whitmore lovers and sensationalists, they will be happy shaking their pom-poms, right? But realistically, like, I can't see it, but I just really cross my fingers, hope I'm wrong. Because at the end of the day, whether we like Theodore or not, we're Jamaicans by heart and we love the country and we want to see the country do well. But 4 points I would have said would have been minimum and 7 points, maximum.
All right, so something deeper that started on Manningsman show. When I look at all the teams that are in this octagonal phase, how would you rank them? As in the top down to the lowest. So I'm going to start with you, Stephen. Who would you say is the top team? I just want to have them the harder to the last place. So start.
Top in terms of Concacaf?
Yeah.
Right now with the squads available.
Overall.
Over USA, man. On paper, and then the worst, I would probably say El Salvador.
Give them in order.
We're just above that.
Give them in order. So
in order.
USA at 1.
All right, so yes, definitely. And right behind them, I'm going to have Mexico. Behind that, Canada. Below them, I have Honduras. Right? Below Honduras, I have Costa Rica. Costa Rica is aging, not the team they were a couple years ago. Under Costa Rica, I have El Salvador. Under Costa Rica, I have Jamaica. And under Jamaica, I have El Salvador. That would be my order.
Okay.
On to Panama.
Oh, Panama. Gee, I know I was forgetting somebody. Panama, then Costa Rica, Jamaica, then El Salvador.
Okay.
Panama wipe the floor with me.
Chris, what would be your line for the 8?
Mexico, USA, Canada, Panama, Honduras, Jamaica, El Salvador.
No, Costa Rica.
Costa Rica is here. Costa Rica basically on the donors part. I have them last on Concacaf at the moment.
Oh, Kems.
I actually have USA. After USA, I have Canada. Then I have Mexico. then I have Panama. Then I have after Panama. Why not laugh?
That it wouldn't be you, Kems, if you didn't do that. I'm telling you.
After Panama, we have Honduras. After Honduras, I have Costa Rica. After Costa Rica, then we have Jamaica, then El Salvador. But the last 2, there's a little bit of flexibility there. El Salvador can overtake this Jamaica, depending from but right now, Jamaica.
All right, so Mannings, you know what I'm coming with. So early on when you raised it, and we had Jamaica at around catching up between 3rd and 4th in terms of when all of them best teams are available, That is what we're basing it off. Mannings, man, and I were told that we are ranked the man them too low, and the man them is Jamaica is the 2nd most talented squad in Concacaf and all of that. I was like, man, even say who? Nobody in Concacaf can
skill like Maggie
as a skill of a Tariq Maggie.
Maggie is the skillest.
We mentioned Giovanni Reina, Irving Lozano, Christian Pulisic. Man say none of them man they don't have the skill set of a Tariq.
Manning cut the man them I use judge them thing.
And the man them say that Kemar Lawrence is the best left
back in CONCACAF.
Alphonso Davis play cricket.
My name Alfonso Davis is not as good as him.
No, I play cricket, man.
But I wouldn't really rank Jamaica as low as you guys have done, though.
What I'll say though is that the fifth, that the Concacaf rankings, all right, have Jamaica at 7th on 1,500. The top team, Mexico, is 2,000. So in terms of the points differential, we are so far behind. We are almost 200 points behind, like Canada. We are behind Costa Rica. I mean, like we'd have to win a couple of games to pass the team. But let's put aside because we're 7th, right? So let's put aside the FIFA ranking and look at the reality. So you have Mexico, all of those teams. Jamaica is 7th. But if we were supposed to pick, and this is what we're doing today, Levan, the 11 best players for Jamaica right now, including a Fitley and Bailey, a Mikel Antonio, Ethan Pinnock, Liam Moore, all of those guys, Andre Blake, the best 11. And we take the best 11 Mexicans, the best 11 American, the best, same thing for Canada. Who would have? It was in that I said, when I look at it based on best 11, I would see USA, Mexico ahead of Jamaica, and then I could say Canada and Jamaica are kind of battling for that 3rd and 4th. I don't think man-to-man, best 11 Costa Rica has better players, or Honduras. I don't believe so. What I think is that those countries have better coaches to manage the talent that they have. And if we had a better coach to manage the players that we have, I think we could get better results. And I'm not trying to be like, I'm not asking for the coach to be fired and things. I'm just saying, you understand?
So Chris, what do you say that? Chris, what do you say that Tappa is the worst of the head coaches that are playing the octagonal phase?
I was looking at it today, to be honest, and every other team, basically, you see, all of the points that we bring forward as to what Tappa's supposed to do, I see these teams doing it. You're talking about teams bringing through players. Panama doing it, Honduras doing it. They're having players that's coming from 2019. They have majority of those players. They were on the bench and they made the step up and come up. So I would have to say basically he's the worst of the coaches. And if you want to use resumes, when you go and look at the El Salvador coach resume, when you go and look at Panama coach resume, when you go and look at Honduras coach resume, these people have coached all over the place. They have probably like 11. They have probably coached 11 to 12 teams.
I don't have to
and it helps. It helps. Coaching all over helps. And I think that is one of our biggest downfall. We didn't get the best coach to take us to the World Cup. I think Tappa wasn't the best coach right now. We didn't get the best coach to take us to the World Cup. That's just the truth.
I don't have to ask Kems the question because Kems is already going to say that Tappa is the worst. Tappa and Ole is in the same class, so I don't have to ask Kems.
I wonder what Demo thinks.
No, man, Demo Tappa's big coach, man.
How would you rate him though? In comparison to the other coaches, I'd love to know where
so
he ranks.
You can answer that in the comment section.
Like,
you see, in 2019, the Panama coach had a contract that he had a 1-year contract, but could be extended because obviously based on result. He was a former player, just like Tappa, They fire him and they hire, I think, a coach from Europe because these people are serious about their program.
I can tell
he's a former player. He's a former player of
Chris,
Panama.
You know that Manningsman actually rate that coach highly.
No, I didn't listen.
No,
the Panama
coach. Yeah, he's a big coach, but a lot of people don't rate him. He's a big coach.
So I think about the Canadian coach.
Herdman.
Yeah, wouldn't you say that he has you don't say necessarily has the best of talents to work with. However, what he has done since he has taken over is that he has found a system and have them playing a particular way.
Listen, I keep saying this.
Player comes in.
Here's why I don't give him a lot of ratings, because even if the Canadian guy was not the president of Concacaf, they would not be in this. We only have 8 teams. because he wanted to get Canada back in. Canada were out. People forget that. Canada were out, and he changed the rules to move it from 6 teams to 8 teams, so that Canada, and this was the same guy who had the team, and he never got into the 8 because Jamaica would have been in it. You know, Jamaica were like 4th at that time. Canada was out of it, and he changed it, right? So, yeah. So I don't know. I have to see him do some more, right?
This guy's crazy. So, man, here's the answer to you. Say, I rate Tappa higher than all of them that didn't take them side to 48 in the world.
Well, Mexico's never been out of the top 20. Nor has USA. That's an easy answer.
US has dipped below the top 20 before, but they have not. They have
recently.
As far as I can recall, they have not.
Yeah, they probably go to 27 or something like that.
Yeah.
Has Jamaica ever been ranked higher than the USA
Not
in the
to
last
America.
10 years?
Not America.
15 years? Or Canada? Or Costa Rica? In the last 15 years.
Jamaica is ranked higher than Canada, though.
Than Canada. Yeah.
But,
because coming into the qualifiers, you know, we were the 4th rank. You had Mexico 4th or 5th because you had Honduras. Because Honduras, in fact, USA was all the way down because they did not qualify for the World Cup. I don't know if you forget that the last World Cup they did not qualify. It was Mexico, Costa Rica, Honduras, and Panama. I think Panama was in the group with England.
Yeah, they were.
Right.
When they scored the first goal at the World Cup.
There you go. All right. So USA was not in it, obviously, but USA started winning, started rebuilding. However, so when you look at that, you can see that those teams had something that they were building on. And while the USA was out of the World Cup, they rebuilt their whole team.
Big time. They started to invest in the MLS.
You go and check how many players that they had from the last World Cup campaign at the field in comparison to now, and compare that with the Jamaican team, and see who.
You remember this guy named Michael Beasley?
Yeah.
That man can't get a look in again. None dog.
Okay.
But
I think Altidore is probably the only one. Altidore not even get called up so often anymore. It's just every now and then they call him.
Yeah, because then again, he's still performing for Columbus Crew. He still scores goals, right? But well, I'm actually mixing them up. I'm mixing up with Zardes. Zardes is the one that plays for Columbus Crew.
Yeah, so Zardes. Altidore don't get.
Altidore hardly get called up. That's true.
Yeah.
And they don't need to. Because
I'm telling you, they have rebuilt their whole team.
Look at the runnings. You have Zardes. You have the youngster from Orlando City. His name is Daryl DK. They didn't call him up recently. Then you have Ricardo Pepe, who plays at FC Dallas. He's just 19. Scored the other day. Then you have the guy that sunk United, Jordan Sibachu, that plays for Young Boys. He's also American, you know. Then you have Timothy Weah, who can also play as a centre forward. So when you think about these things, they're a team that has rebuilt and
Josh Sargent.
Josh Sargent. He's also another one as well.
And he's not in this. I don't think he's in this squad.
So if I look at it, man, what USA did when they didn't qualify, they invested in football. Because you know that, as Kims would say, the USA is built a particular way. They want to be the top of everything. So they went and they actually invested in it, and now you're seeing the rewards because a lot of their players are moving to top European clubs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, look here, you see when Chris Lane supposed to can tell you, because he's up here, but you see when USA didn't qualify. Alright, let me show you. Let me show you how it goes. Soccer is not a big thing up here. Like, it's not a big, one of the lower end sports. You know, you have the NFL, you have basketball, you have baseball, hockey. Soccer are one of the lower end. You see, when USA never qualify for World Cup, you have never seen US soccer get so much coverage ever. Every station they go up on, ESPN, First Take, they're bashing them left, right, and center. Shit.
Continue, I hear you.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, man, we're hearing it, man.
You hear me? All right.
Echo.
Yeah, they were bashing them left, right, and center, beating after beating, and then the USA, like the whole country, took that so personal, and that's why you see they went out and started doing what they were doing, start getting in the players, start getting in whoever they need to get in order to improve. We can't, and I understand that obviously USA first world country, Jamaica third world country, all that kind of stuff. I understand all of that, but in our Jamaica side, you think if, for example, you think if USA did need a defensive midfielder and they had no other option, you think they would have go for Javon Watson? Then prefer get somebody from D1 for come play in the midfield who young and springy, then go get a 30-year-old man who just go join a club the other day or whatever the case may be. So
Jones.
those are you just have some little things that just, them probably not seem so big, but there's some little things that can differentiate a side who really want to go World Cup or just want to pretend like they want to go World Cup. And I think Jamaica, they on that spectrum there, where them just think, where them just have trickery, so them want to go World Cup, but I don't think them really about it at all.
What is the coach's son called? There was a coach, Bradley. He used to be the coach, right? Bradley, and his son was Bradley used to play midfield.
Yeah.
For the USA.
The captain.
The captain. And his father was the coach, right? That guy is younger than Javon Watson, and if them need help, then they ain't gonna call him. He's not in the team.
Absolutely not.
I'm telling you, they rebuilt their team. They have rebuilt their team.
Yep.
I'm telling you. And it's the same thing with Mexico. People forget that Marquez was in the last campaign for Mexico.
Marquez
Them I said they are rebuilding. You look at the Mexican team using some of their they're bringing in players and they're rebuilding. All I'm saying is that we, like Ken says, we don't have the money to rebuild the way they do, but we can rebuild another way. We don't have to do it their way, but there must be a way. We have to find a way to rebuild. And I'm saying that if you have a national coach and every single month he gets 700 or whatever the money is, you understand whatever it is.
I'm gonna say it, man. One no.
When you go around the league and you find the players, take someone. Listen, like this man was, according to Jamaica, this coach was one of the good midfielders in terms of his ability to turn and shift and all of those things. Score. Why didn't you take McGee? In the years he was at Harborview, somebody feeding back.
No, go ahead now.
In the years he was at Harborview, why didn't you take McGee, right? And teach him some stuff when you were not in the national setup. You go to Harborview and say, all right, McGee, listen, you and so need to meet me up by the Captain Horace Center on Wednesday because I want to go through some stuff. That's probably a way we have to look at rebuilding and stop talking about you don't have no money. If people want to do things, they will get the money. They will find the money to do it if it's important. Anything in life that is important to you, you're going to find the money to do it. If you don't want to do it, you don't think it is important. That is just how money works. If it is important, you're going to find the money.
Yeah, totally agree, Mannings, man. And you see the sensationalists, them like Demo, who like romanticize with Tappa. These are the things. They will always see them kind of people there come up with some kind of defensive mechanism as to why Jamaica football can better. As to why the same thing them you just say them to implement, they're gonna come up with a reason why them can't do that. Or again, the JFF now the money. Like again, if me a coach Jamaica team, and me I say, boy, this are the best team ever see Jamaica assembled since 98 or whenever. Right? Are the best team ever see Jamaica. Like as a coach, I believe say my responsibility in order to say, okay, me have my group of players who me think say they may have my foundation. I'm not talking about English-based players, but these are my foundation. The McGee, the Fleming, the Speedy, them little players there. Never find a way for always keep them together. Always, even when them not playing a ball over here, so them play a ball with me. We have a system, we have something set up right, so strategically for them foundation players. But then every time I bring up that and you ask the sensationalists, them are going to tell us, oh, well, Jamaica don't have no money. Oh, well, we're going to have no facility. Oh, well, I'll know COVID has start using an excuse. And COVID just come, what day? So I'm not like, well, what day we are talking about, pre-COVID, we are trying to get these things implemented. And it's just not happening.
Man, the win at all costs doesn't work either. I remember when I was here, I was saying that winning the Gold Cup wouldn't be my main objective.
Yeah, there you go.
Winning
Chemistry.
the Gold Cup shouldn't have been our main objective. It would have to be bringing all the players that we need for the campaign, because the World Cup qualifiers was right around the corner. So we needed our squad from there in a competition like that to be bonding and grooming. That would have been the perfect camp to set up your players, you know. You don't need to win there. He wouldn't have lost his job by going about it that way, because we're right around and it would have been the perfect way to start it. Now we come here now, I would just throwing anybody in, anybody where does fit in, and need to come play does fit in. It would have been the right time to do it, but I think we went in there and the fans wanted to win. When you look on here, the fans wanted to win. I don't know what I would have feel better coming last in that tournament and going to the World Cup.
Exactly. And that's a very valid point. that whole COVID thing should have been the whole World Cup should have been like, okay, who is my best 11? And who are my first 5 substitute? Those 16 players I need to work. Yeah, I think it lacked vision. That somebody's still coming back to the shutting down. We are talking, like, I am not talking, listen, way before, because remember, Maggie came back to Jamaica, and it was Craig Butler that had to be training Maggie. That was how Maggie ended up going back to Europe and getting in a club. I am saying, if the coach had a vision of using Maggie, why wasn't he a part of that process of helping him to work on his weaknesses? Because he has always been talented. That's all I'm saying, right? Yes, there was COVID. Then, I mean, if COVID would have prevented all the preparation and all that, why would bother playing a football? Why nobody just stop and nobody playing a football then? Because COVID mashed up your life? Yeah, I'm saying that. I mean, everybody have been able to do things because they were doing it way before COVID. Let me go back to that under 20 tournament when we played against Mexico and the USA and all of these teams. Where are the players?
Mannings man. Hey, Levon, put back up the demo comment there. Mannings man, help me with this there, because you know I defer to you, right? So I don't know much about this, so you can tell me. This is what I'm saying. So JA was ranked 48 in the world, and they were on a high. So explain. You agree with this? The high?
All right. So when part of that whole ranking thing, let me say this to you. Again, you have to look at the players who are coming out of the team.
Okay.
Right? Javon Watson was coming out. Some of the players are coming because there is no transition. And when we were ranked that high, all right, look at the teams that we beat and how we were playing.
Who were some of the teams we beat during that time?
But that's what I'm saying. We never listen. You have to go about. It's not like we're dominating the Mexican, dominating the USA, brethren. These are the teams we are going to compete against. We weren't dominating them.
Oh, no, some of them wouldn't play.
We were winning Nation League against Antigua and them teams.
I was just about to say.
But man, don't get me wrong. I agree with what you're saying, but just I said, Demo will always come with this facade, like say, Jamaica is doing the greatest things ever, but he's not. He's always incomplete.
Oh.
So you must say, okay, Jamaica is ranked high, and they were on a high, they were ranked 40. But I'm not going to tell you who Jamaica beat in at that time. I'm not going to tell you the Antiguas of the world and everything there. I'm not going to tell you that. So that's why I just asked the question so that you could have just shed some light on it.
So I am thinking like, we going ahead, we have to find a way of getting our young talent. That is why I say, even if we get an overseas coach, a coach from overseas to coach a national team, part of the work must be, it has to be this, very simple. Still work with the players, watch this, outside, once they're in Jamaica. That's what René Simoes did. Regardless of the Paul Hall and all who were playing in MLS, René Simoes had a group of players that outside of tournament, he was teaching them certain things about the game. You always, as a national coach, must be working. René Simoes was working like with Ricardo Gardner regularly. the Fabian Davis, the Christopher Dawes, the Linval Dixon. He was working with them. All we're saying is that what more we have to do that. Because you're here, don't tell me that club. What I'm saying that you are the national coach. You are going to use the people, right? You understand me? So that is my point. That is my point. That he needs to spend some time to work with the players.
So Manning, so here's Kaswan James saying that Manning's man, I agree. I'm referring to the other point. Don't cuss me. Local sporting bodies
Yeah, I know, man.
only being able to bin camps in less than past year. So yeah, a lot of
Yeah, man, I agree
things
there,
have been
cousin.
used. As I said though, Manning's man, there has to be a way. You can't just wait until you just get a player. For instance, you pointed out Maggie. I believe Tappa should have taken this player under his wing and say, hey, I see myself in this guy, so I'm going to train him. But guess why it doesn't happen? Tappa is of the realm of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. That man was a striker, and when you look at Manchester United forwards, they have been misfiring, right? So when you take that into consideration, they're just basically two of the same. These guys don't know exactly what coaching is all about. So, boy, it's a bad thing. But I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know how we're going to start out this. And going forward, Chris, do you think what you see as a solution?
The sad part about it is I don't want to dampen the mood because we have so much games to go. And I really don't want to dampen the mood. So let us stay on the up. We still have to try and squeeze out results. And I think if we really want to go to the World Cup, this game would be a good game to make a statement. This USA game would be a good game to make a statement. And a victory against the US would be a good way to get back the fans behind the team and to put and to bring back players that you see not coming for some other reason or not. They would want to come back as well. And just to gain confidence. So I think this game I think this game tells us where we're going. But for me, we have to start looking at our coaches in Jamaica. We have to start looking there. There's a reason why when the players go away, they look so much different and come back with so much more experience. Even when they go away with minimum talent, there's a reason why when they go overseas they come back with looking so good. And we have to start with that. Our coaches are not at the level that they should be at. I think that's where it starts from.
Okay, so here's Kaswan James saying that again, that Manning's man, that is the same concept Belgium does. Even Craig Butler pointed to it. Even a reserve 22 should be camping at least once a month for 5 days.
Yeah, that's what FRENZZYY was doing, man. But that's the Kems having his hand. Listen, I agree with Chris Lynch and then I'll let Kems come in. Because here's what. If you look at the games, remember that Honduras plays Costa Rica. Mexico and Canada play. So how the fixtures are set up, if we get a good results, other teams are going to drop points. You understand me? So it brings you closer to the teams that are above you, basically. Well, obviously, because you're at the bottom of the table, so you're going to be closer. But yeah, so you get the point. How the fixtures are set up is kind of like it's a good game this for Jamaica to get a result.
True. I agree. Kems, go ahead. You're about to say something.
I was actually going to ask Manning's man. Well, I was going to ask you all a question. Even the viewers can comment as well. So I was saying, all right. So we have 3 games to play. So after the USA game, say we get another 3-0 like what we get from Panama in the USA game, right? How do we now recover from that? Do you think that is a case where the boys' confidence will be shattered and it's just like, all right, the World Cup is over? Or because I believe this USA game is critical. Even if they get a draw against USA, I believe they will be able to bring a momentum into the other 2 games. But I believe if they come to USA and they get a piece of trashing and a piece of beating, I believe that the boys head's gonna be down and stuff. I just wanted to get you guys a view on that.
I agree, Kems. That's basically what I was saying. This game is very critical in terms of that. This can tell us where we're going, where we're heading at the moment. It's either we're going to fight, or at this moment we're going to give up. This is what this game is going to tell us. So I
Even
agree with you.
even a close, I believe even if we lose all a close 2-1, that can probably get them. But I believe if we get outclassed on the pitch and we look like we have no business on the pitch with these guys, I think this.
You know what would be interesting? What do the coach do for the next run of games? If these guys beat USA, if this crop of player beat USA, beat Canada and draw against Honduras, what would it say for the likes of the players who are not in the camp right now? That would be interesting.
Yeah.
But also, here's Jerome was saying again that at this level that football is playing, coaching is done at a younger age. Management of players is what Tappa should be doing. Tactical work, set plays, and such. The issue is we have poor structure. I agree with that.
All right, so let me say this, right? I hear Tappa was on the radio and he said at this stage he don't have time to coach the players. He's here to manage them. All right. So here's what I'm saying. When the national team is called to camp, at that point it is managing. When the national team is not in camp, the national coach should have some players locally that he's working with. There's a big difference. When the national team is called up, I have 3 days before a game. Yes, this is appropriate, Jerome. But out for the other 72 days, when there's no international game, and you are in Jamaica, and they are Jamaican players, why not work with them to get them to like what Rene Simons used to do? The thing is, that is what we did and qualified. Why aren't we using the things that we did in the 1998 campaign? That they worked. Implement some of them and tweak the little things. We have thrown them away. Rene Simons always have had a core of local players that he was working with. You could have been working with Topi and King because these guys are here. The same Ramon Howell. Get 6 of them and meet with them 5 days a month. You may not need them now, but you may come up into a crisis. And you have to call on them.
As is the situation right now.
As is the situation, that's all we're saying. But we do understand that when there's an international game and you call the Leon Bailey and the Damian Lowe, I expect them to come to know to control and pass the ball. I don't. If Whitmore would teach that they should not be in the national team.
I agree.
But here's what he can.
But Mannings, one thing that Jerome mentioned that I believe that is what we criticize Tappa the most about is his tactical awareness. That is what we personally as YouTubers and even our analysts on our shows have criticized him about, that when it comes down to tactics, that's where he sucks and that's where he needs a lot of improvement. So at the end of the day, Tappa has to sort that out. In terms of teaching players to control, Tappa can't do that. If as a Mannings man say, if a Tappa, if you're teaching for that, you're not supposed to be playing football.
The national team.
No, you're not supposed to. Stay at the club or wherever you are.
Club? You're not supposed to be at a club.
Even
if you pass 5 and you can't control football, don't bother try play it.
I agree. But as it stands right now,
it's just like the West Indies. Like you think when Chris Gill got to King's Punjab, they teach him how to play forward defensive.
But as it stands right now, we have to just hope for a miracle, and miracles do happen, They do happen. So we just have to hope that one will happen for Jamaica and they'll get a 1-0 for USA, because that would actually bring back a lot of the people on the wagon, Because as it stands right now, the wagon is running smoothly.
You know what I know? All I know is that when this campaign started, we were on a high, and the Panama game brought us down to 0. So
Yeah, man,
our
but
expectations are so low now as a fan base that I think the team is good. Like a part of me, you think you said it that some game was going to be drawn. I think I don't remember which one of the game left on in the EPL, but
Liverpool against Brentford.
yeah, I have this feeling like because the expectations are so low that the USA is the right game for Jamaica, and these players who play like in the MLS to show up
USL and those places, yeah.
and to show up and do something. I just feel like we're gonna be surprised.
But
Yeah.
guess what? As I'm saying though Mannings, up until that Panama game, the wagon was full. The tires were basically like this. You see now the wagon is like this. It's standing sturdy. So you see like if they get a result against USA, let's say they win, I guarantee you that probably couple of the wheel probably pop off. To how overload it will become. But
Demo the doctor, you know. So careful,
man,
my
Demo
Demo
is
No,
don't let
man,
you up on the
Dima is not
wagon.
a wagon.
no man,
I'm determined if you can join the wagon.
no man, Dima is the assistant driver. When Tappa get tired, Dima just jump in and you see it. But we just have to hope for the best and hope that these set of players that are there, who are Tappa players, can actually get a result. That's how we have to hope for.
The
No,
good thing about it is I like when Nicholson is there because he knows what he has to do when he's in the starting 11 and he puts in that work that I like to see up front. So the good thing is that we have him because when he got injured, I was scared that the one person that seemed that when he's other from Mattox, I think Nicholson has shown that he know what it takes to help Jamaica. If you look at how he move on the field, he know what we need. So I think he put that. Yes, I like that.
Sometimes a lot of players, Nicholson plays lazy, but he's that type of player that he can pop up with a goal.
And maybe Javon will surprise us.
All wishing for is miracles. That's not good.
And a lot of hope, but I'm just going to call it a wrap because we have reached close to the 2-hour mark. So I'm just going to go around the table. Mannings, man, you have a minute to talk about whatever.
Listen, NBA preseason and all of that. Looking forward to my Knickerbockers dominating the Eastern Conference this year.
Seriously.
You know, after my auditions in the summer, because we're shooting for Zion Williamson and Damian Lillard very soon. So look out, big things happen in New York. I don't feel sorry for Kyrie. If you don't want to play, he can't play in New York. So I don't know what is going to happen in Brooklyn. I think KD is going to get tired of him, and that whole thing is going to crumble and break up and thing. So the Knicks, New York City, New York Knicks standing large. Jamaica, I'm watching, supporting, putting on my Jamaica jersey. But yeah, you understand me. I've tempered my expectation.
Okay. Chris, I have a minute.
You need to join the NFL train so you can sit with Kems. Although I missed that discussion, you need to start watching some NFL. It's a good sport to bet on.
Hold on. Who says that I don't watch NFL?
I didn't see any discussion, so I could only assume that you think that you can't be a part of the discussion.
All right, so listen.
James could have been the host, and you as a panelist.
You listen to me, though, Chris. You can ask Kems himself if I wasn't involved.
Okay.
Finish up, man.
Yeah, the NFL been going on good though. There's a lot of upsets and all although you see the Patriots almost pull off one against the big bad Tom Brady. So there's a lot of things. Justin Fields. There's a lot of excitement going on in the NFL. Still early days. The Chiefs, the Raiders look like they're going to run them. Like they want to win that division. So looking forward to more NFL this weekend again.
All right, Kems, go ahead.
Mannings man talk about basketball, talk about a team that is a great brand but very irrelevant where playing on the court is concerned. So let us talk about a recent champion, the LA Lakers, who just re-up. Anthony Davis is healthy, Anthony Davis is ready. LeBron, slim down, trim down, is ready. Russell Westbrook. Right now we have best 3-point shooter in the league last year, Wayne Ellington, shooting over 40%. We have actually 2 players on the team shooting over 40%. And then we have Carmelo Anthony, and you know that man is automatic. As it relates to Kyrie already telling you, say if Brooklyn trade him, he's going to retire. So Brooklyn have a tough thing on their hands. Warriors looking good. I see Klay Thompson training, but they're going to retire. They're going to retire. Lakers are going to retire Paul Gasol jersey, so that is good. Definitely deserved. As we switch over to the NFL now, guys. Remember, tune in on Saturday at 7 p.m. Big show. We talk NFL. We talk elite stuff, just like we talk tonight. Just a different space with the NFL. Mannings, man, you are welcome, because I see you're making a lot of NFL analogies. So you're welcome. Sit back and learn. All right,
Baltimore Ravens. We do not be no dirty birds like the Eagles and the thing. The Ravens.
But I just want to say thanks to all of you guys, and tonight with the 400 subscribers mark, and it's not down to Kems. Thanks to the persons that have been the driving force behind this. You're the one that makes it possible, and the producer is one of those persons that has been behind it, not Kems. Kems, your responsibility now is to get us to 450 by the end of this week. We're currently at 415, so you have to get us 35 more. So your work don't stop here. So thanks to all the people that have been the driving force behind us getting over the 400 mark. And again, it was a pleasure being here with you guys. Thanks to Mannings, man. Thanks to Ryan who was here, Stephen, Chris, and Kems, and to our producer, Josh Carl, who makes this possible. Without the producer, this can go on. And especially you, the commenters. Thanks a lot, man. To our first-time commenters, to our regular commenters, first-time viewers, regular viewers. Peaceful night to all of you. And just keep on supporting Sports Frenzy. Let's hit that 450 mark by the end of this week. And then next week, we're going to reach a 500 mark. So, Kems, 35 subscribers are on you from now until Friday, 10:20 p.m.
Every time people subscribe, me, them subscribe for and all of them.
Kems, the producer said he's keeping a keen eye on it, so you need to do it.
Mr. Producer and Mr. Host, a girl just...
How long ago?
Never mind.
All right, say no more.
Never mind.
Remember where you are. But remember, guys, you need to go over there and support Mannings Man as well. He's just what I believe he's earlier today was 25 subscribers away from 1,200. So go over there as well and support.
Yeah, 21 more to reach.
So 21 more. So 21 more and you'll be at 1,200. So support I Am Sure Sports, and together I Am Sure Sports and Sports Frenzy will grow. After that, I am sure.
No doubt.
Kevin's
in the big mouth.
Stay safe, guys. Peace out. Hope that we'll wake up to some good news for Reggae Boyz, because today was a bad day for them. So stay safe tomorrow.